Hey guys, today we want to talk about the keys to being a successful expat here in the Philippines. One of the biggest things that a lot of guys have problems with over here, and it's not really so much money, it's battling loneliness. A lot of guys here that come here that talk to me, and I talk to most of the people that want to move into groups. They want to be in a group or around other expats. That's why a lot of people move to Dumaguete. That's why a lot of people move to Subic. A lot of people move to these places and they want to be around other expats to beat that loneliness thing. But there's a big group of people here that when they start talking to girls online, what they do is they immediately come over here, retire, and move out to the provinces. And the provinces for expats can be quite lonely unless you're willing to mix in with her family. And I think a lot of expats like to have some Americans around or some other, maybe Europeans around or whatever, wherever you come from. You like to have some of your own people around, at least a few. Or you like to have somebody like a best friend or something around. There are people that don't want that. They just want to be left alone, and they're okay with themselves, and that's okay too. But what I'm saying for the majority of people, and I can't speak for everybody, okay, is that most of us want to have some sort of social interactions with our own kind, meaning, like Filipinos like to be around Filipinos when they're in the United States. And Americans like to be around Americans. Canadians like to be around Americans and Canadians. And people from Denmark somewhat like to meet up every so often with somebody from Denmark also. Or if they're from France, they like to meet up with French people occasionally. And I notice that here that when we have some people from, let's say, Denmark, they like to hang around with people from Denmark a little bit, but they also hang around with Americans too. Us as expats, we're kind of like a strange group, but we like to have our social interactions, our little barbecues and stuff. And I think that's part of what makes a lot of expats successful over here and really happy. There's a lot of expats that they do their own thing. They have this dream of having a farm or whatever, and I've talked to some of them, and a lot of them, believe it or not, fail later on because they just don't have what it takes to do things here, because the Philippines is different, man. A Filipino farmer will make all his tools and everything, whereas an American has to go out and buy all the things that he needs to do the farming, and it can get costly. It's just different. Everything here is different. If you start a restaurant here, a Filipino will beat you out all the time. Because they know how to get things cheaper, they know how to negotiate, they know where to get stuff. They have their friends and things that they just have their more ties and their networking. And Americans need to learn to network over here a lot too. That's another key to being a successful expat over here. But also over here, for a lot of us, it's money. Money is a tough thing for many expats because some people are on their social security budgets or whatever. It can be kind of rough and tough to be surviving on a certain amount of money. Some people have a small social security check and maybe a small disability check or SSDI, or maybe they have a municipal pension or whatever. Some people have a lot of those things all mixed together. I know people here that have like 4 different types of income or 5 different types of income. I know other people that have one or 2 types of income coming in. I know people here that have no social security coming in because they always worked underneath the table and they have a large savings. There's all types of people here that have different types of income here. But to be successful here, you have to learn to live cheap here. And I think that most people that come here and are living on the smaller budgets usually don't make it, because usually what happens is a health scare comes along, something happens, they become homeless, or they have to go back to the States or whatever. They need help from somebody, one of their family members or whatever. or they have to go get a repatriation loan. This doesn't happen very often. Usually most people realize, hey, this place is kicking my butt. I have enough money in reserves. I need to go home and probably get a job, or go back and move into elderly housing, or whatever they need to do. I mean, there's people back home. I know at the Chelsea Soldiers Home, because I used to go there, that actually lived in the Philippines before, and I never really got their story, but I'm sure what happened was either they got too sick and they went back there or whatever. There was a time there when my back was really rough. I was bedridden, and I still have problems in the morning now, every morning. But I remember, and I was actually considering going back and checking myself into the VA Soldiers Home, the Chelsea Soldiers Home. It's not really run by the VA, but I think the VA has a lot to do with it. It's run by the state of Massachusetts, and you know, these places can be a saving grace for veterans, because a lot of states have these homes for people that are sick, or they have nobody to take care of them or whatever. And my father wanted to check in there when he was older. He had Parkinson's disease. He said he wanted to be around other guys. He didn't want to go into the nursing home. He knew people that were in there before, that we used to go visit, and he said he felt more comfortable going in there. And it was actually very reasonable to check in there too. And you know, nobody wants to go back there and do that. And if you're smart and you come over here and you find a good woman, the woman will usually take care of you. Filipinos are very, very good at taking care of you. One thing I can say from my girlfriend right now, Susan, is she's extraordinary at taking care of me. She helps me now. You know, in the mornings I have big problems, you know, and I have a tough time getting prepped in the morning, and she is the one who helps me get ready. And that's the good thing about the Philippines, is the people here are loving, helpful people, and our money stretches a lot further. You know, $1,500 over here stretches, you know, a lot further than it does back home. $1,500 back home might not even get you into an apartment in the Boston area. Maybe if you're in upstate New York or something like that, or in some of the smaller towns in Texas, you can probably still get apartments for $600 or $1,000 or something like that. I'm sure there's places out there in Nevada, and some of the smaller towns, and maybe up in Wyoming and places like that. You can live there fairly cheap, but there's not many places like that left in the United States, number one. And usually they're so far off the beaten path and from the people that we love. It's just like living in a foreign country, basically, because of the fact that it's so far away from our loved ones. You know, and over here, part of the thing that attracts a lot of people here is the fact that, like, our group is our family, basically. Everybody kind of looks out for everybody. We all look out for each other here in a very big way. If somebody gets sick here, if somebody's having issues, or somebody needs a small loan or something like that, you know. And usually most of the guys are pretty good here about paying back money if they borrow money or something like that. There's no problems with that ever. You know, we don't have any issues like that, because the people here, most of them are pretty honorable, respectful people in our group. It's a key to success over here, is being respectful to the other expats here. It really is. And you know, some of the groups out there, they have a lot of backbiting that goes on, and that's gonna go anywhere. You're gonna get some, well, I'll say it, turd that comes into the group and just tries to wreck it for everybody else. And sometimes you can turn these people around, and sometimes you can't, and you just have to let them go. I mean, somebody was talking to me today about a guy that they had to let go because he was bringing politics into the group, you know. And I don't think it's a good thing to bring politics into these groups, because it just serves no purpose, because we don't live in the United States anymore. You know, we live here in the Philippines, and what happens back home happens back home. Do I care about what happens back home? I care because, you know, I have my daughter and I have family back there. Of course I care. But I mean, you know, for the most part over here, we also adopt our own family. And that's the key to our success over here. networking, you know, possibly going to church and making friends there too. So for a lot of you guys that are looking at coming over here, you're really, it's all on your shoulders how successful you'll be over here. But the biggest part of success is money, networking, friends, staying away from loneliness. You're going to get lonely over here. You are going to get lonely over here sometimes. You're going to miss your family. But the good thing about over here is you can call them, you know, and that's the best part about being over here is you can call your family, and that's the best thing, because it's of the technology we have today is great. It's fantastic, you know, and we can talk face to face. I can talk face to face with my sister, with other family members, and it's just like being home. So do I miss them? Yeah, I miss sitting down at a table and having dinner with them or something like that. That's a big part of missing our families. But the great part is we have people over here too that's our family, and we can sit down and have dinner or barbecue with them, you know. And that's really the key to your success over here is not being lonely and staying on top of things over here. I really believe that the most successful people over here are the people that have tons of friends over here, and stay healthy, that they have the finances, and if you have all that in place, pretty much you're going to survive. If you have a good girlfriend, that's even better. If you have a good decent girlfriend that's going to take care of you, because we are aging. Most expats are retired, and you need to have somebody by your side that's going to look out for you. And that's the key over here to your happiness also, is a good woman. If you don't have a good woman, and she's not a good woman, that's going to be rough on you, and it's not going to bring you happiness. And a lot of guys have learned that, you know, that sometimes you have to let go and move on. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.